Pelicans Heat was the first game we saw. Big facts, Noel. What'd you see?
All right, so yeah, this game, I mean, was closer than a lot of the other games in that regard, but definitely still the Heat kind of had the upper hand for most of the game. Two big facts though that I got off the bat is on the offensive end, or I guess on the defensive end, guarding these two players. You're not going to stop Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. They're going to get what they want when they want, and that is a fact. Both of them are just beasts, and they get what they want. Especially, I mean, I've been a Zion fan for a while, and watching that man play is just something else. He's one of my favorite players to watch, and I just can't get enough of it. However, when I think of the Pelicans, though, and I guess we can just take the Pelicans route before we get into the Heat, I think about who's going to be the third option to step up because they lost this game, even though Zion dropped 32 and Brandon Ingram dropped 28 on pretty good shooting percentages for both of them. But guys like Lonzo Ball, guys like Eric Bledsoe, guys like Steven Adams, Josh Hart, no one else really stepped up. And I think that was a big factor why the Pelicans only scored 99 points and they didn't get the win. So I'm curious if you guys would speak on that.
Yeah. For me, I think the third option actually has to be JJ Redick because I don't think they have consistent shooting across their team. Like Eric Bledsoe, we've seen him on the Bucks. He doesn't really shoot the ball consistently. We know Lonzo Ball can have streaky months where he looks great and everybody's like, see, that's why they took Lonzo Ball second overall. But then he also has months where he just doesn't shoot the ball well and he can't make free throws. To me, JJ Redick is what's going to help Zion and Brandon Ingram by spacing the floor for them and giving them room to operate. I think there's a lot of pressure on him that he has to shoot the ball really well every single game. But, I mean, they pay him a lot of money, so he does have to do that for them every game.
So my big issue with this team is how the roster is constructed. So you have Lonzo, you have Eric Bledsoe, Zion, and Steven Adams. Those are the presumed starters. J. Redick and Josh Hart will sometimes slot in to start right. Out of those four, I'm not confident with any of those guys shooting outside the arc. I think they have a huge spacing issue, and that really hurts Zion as, he's – even with the spacing issue, he's going to get his, like, when he gets into the paint, right? I mean, he's just such a naturally gifted scorer, and his touch is better than what I thought it would be. Like, when he's in the paint, if he misses – which he rarely does. He's getting the rebound and he's dunking over someone. But their spacing is horrid. It gives me some shades and flashbacks of those Thunder team when the only shooter they had was
Durant,
and then their second best shooter was probably like Serge Ibaka. And I don't know. I think they're gonna have trouble scoring. Whether they trade for someone to fill in that role of like they can score without needing someone to facilitate for them, like on a bench, like as a bench piece even, is what they really desperately need. Because as we've been saying, like they don't have a third option right now. Their third option is either Bledsoe or Lonzo, and they're not scorers really. They're more defenders and good passers, but you can't play full court basketball, the whole game. You have to run half court sets, and they don't have the person to do that with someone who's a third option that can like reliably score.
Right. I do want to say one positive about the Pelicans. They played no defense last year under Alvin Gentry. They were just looking to run up the floor and cherry pick. Zion didn't play any defense. I'm not a big Stan Van Gundy fan because I don't think he did my Pistons anything good, especially with the Blake Griffin trade. But the first two games look promising because they play some defense this year. They really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that take. I also think, though, so when thinking about who the third option can be, I think JJ Redick is the best prospect. I think that's definitely a good take, Vish. But I think guys like Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart especially are two guys I think at the very least they need to be able to make open threes. And both those guys have kind of struggled making open threes. Because when I watch the Pelicans, I see a lot of the shots JJ Redick takes, who is the best three-point shooter, are very hard shots. It's kind of reminds me of like a Kyle Korver where they kind of just force up threes because they're so good at shooting, but they are super hard shots. And I think if guys like Lonzo or just the amount of guys in the team who could make open threes, so wide open, uncontested, that would just free up so much spacing and would help this team a ton.
Yeah.
Whether they go for someone at like the trade deadline or even before then, like they're going to have to make a move to get some floor spacing, especially for Zion, because that's going to be the face of your franchise. I mean, I think we all saw the clip of when they won the lottery and you saw the war room and everyone was just jumping up and down because they're like, wow, we literally just got the most marketable person. We got one of the best prospects in a while. We got Zion. And then you don't help him at all by like catering to his biggest strength of driving when you get Steven Adams, who's, I mean, he's a big man that can't really play outside of 15 feet. So it's an issue.
Yeah, and Steven Adams' defense isn't great. He's a screen setter and he's a rebounder, but he's not the most mobile defender. So if you put him in the pick and roll, he gets abused. I mean, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum 2 years ago, the series that everybody really focused on Russell Westbrook and Paul George's bad shoulder. The biggest problem is that the Portland Trailblazers only play high pick and roll basketball, and Steven Adams can't guard the high pick and roll because if you have to switch it in today's NBA, especially when you're playing against Damian Lillard, because otherwise he's going to shoot the ball. And you can't switch it with Steven Adams. So I do think that's questionable. And two, Blake, they have so many assets. They got to make a move for somebody.